Here are some of the stories that we are working on. A shocking bombshell is dropped in the abuse and murder investigation of Anthony Avalos. Good morning and welcome to the KTLA 5 Morning News at 11 a.m. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. We begin with breaking news this morning. The family of 10-year-old Anthony Avalos is demanding a criminal investigation into LA's Department of Children and Family Services.
That child died of alleged torture and abuse. His mother and her boyfriend have been charged in his death. KTLA 5's Wendy Birch live now in Koreatown with more. Wendy?
Hi, good morning. Well, that press conference wrapped up about an hour ago. Now, this case has been a difficult one to report on. Young Anthony Avalos pronounced dead back in June 21st, I should say. The young boy, according to investigators, had been tortured repeatedly. In fact, they say in the 5 days leading up to his death, he had had hot sauce poured down his throat. He'd been dropped a number of times on his head, according to reports, and he had been physically neglected for some time. And now today, the attorney representing the father in this case says that they just don't want civil litigation against the Department of Child and Family Services. He's saying that they dropped the ball so badly. He wants the district attorney and the sheriff's department to investigate the caseworkers specifically assigned to this case. He wants them to face criminal charges as well. Now, we learned so much more throughout the press conference. We learned that the mother, who is currently in jail, facing charges, of course, child neglect, abandonment, torture, and murder. She, along with her boyfriend, had been living in that home. There were 7 children in that home, including Anthony. Anthony being the oldest at 10 years of age, the youngest being just 11 months. Now, the mother was the biological mother to all of those children, but we understand there was as many as 4 different fathers. The father of Anthony, Victor Avalos, he spoke to cameras today, or I should say reporters today, about his disgust in the system. And we also heard from the aunt who said she tried repeatedly over years to try to get Anthony and those other siblings out of that home, a home which attorneys described as a house of horrors.
3 years ago, he was with us. He was alive and healthy, happy as can be with his siblings. And DCFS took him away from us and gave him back to Heather. And that was it. That was the last time we got to spend time with him. It's not fair.
This is not a case of negligence. This is not a case of the social workers are overworked. This is a case of flat out deliberate indifference.
The attorney, Brian Claypool, also gave us some information. He says that he received the internal documents from DFCS from a media outlet. He would not indicate which media outlet, but he says that there were at least 88 specific claims of abuse investigated in that home, some of them involving Anthony, some of them involving the other children. He also says that those reports show that 15 of those claims, some of them being abuse, some of them being neglect, one of them even being sexual abuse, had been substantiated by the caseworkers assigned to the case of Anthony Avalos. Again, much more will evidently come out of all of this, but at this point, the attorney representing the family of Anthony Avalos, they say that they want criminal charges pressed against the caseworkers involved here at the Division of Child and Family Services. Again, this will be an ongoing story. We'll continue to keep you updated, but for right now, that is the very latest from here in Koreatown. I'm Wendy Birch, and I'll send it back to you.
Wendy.